Hey guys, Dan here. Welcome back to our channel, Cape Cod Like a Local. And we've got another installment of our Ask the Expert series. And so I know it's spring on Cape Cod, so you're probably thinking, I'm going to talk about flowers or beaches or something fun like that. I'm not. Today I'm here to talk about bugs and mice. So we're here with our favorite pest control guy, Matt Helms from PI Pest Investigators. How's it going, Matt?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're glad. Listen, we see this on Cape Cod. And, if you're new to the Cape, or you live in an area where you don't have to deal with this stuff, just understand right up front that especially mice, ants, maybe even termites, it's just part of life. So it's not like you're going to totally avoid them. It's just how do you manage them, and that's when we rely on experts like Matt. We've been doing business together for years now, 10 years or more.
Probably more.
Yeah. I'm getting old. Go easy on me. But you want to just tell us a little bit about your company, like when you got started, how you got started?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually kind of a funny story. I actually started off in the hospitality industry. I ran a couple hotels, front office in a couple hotels. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough money involved for me to stay in that industry. So I started adding the paper for a pest technician. So I went and applied for it. The company came down. They were out of Worcester. They said, we're actually looking for somebody to run the company for us down in the Cape. And you have the management background, so can you run the company for us here? So I said, oh, absolutely. So I took the position. I was with them for a couple of years. They were going to buy a company down here on the Cape and decided last minute not to buy it. So I went and pursued the company that they were going to buy. And that company was established in 2000. We bought it in 2006. So, and we changed the name from the company's name that they had to PI Pest Investigators because my name's Matt Helms and Dean Martin used to play a character named Matt Helm as a private investigator.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, Matt Helms, PI Pest Investigators. So that's how Pest Investigators came in.
Oh, that's awesome.
And this is actually our 20th year in business.
Oh, no kidding. And so it's been you and your wife, Tiffany, all along?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we did have a couple employees here and there, but it's hard to find good help. So I want to make sure that we hire the best.
And I know I heard one of my agents had a situation off Cape, and I've explained it to you, but an older woman and her daughter dealing with health issues for the dad, older home, beautiful home, and they had a pest guy. They just called some guy out of the local chamber of commerce, and the guy came out. It's $25,000, and I was like, whoa, So I went up there the next day and looked over what they were talking about. I'm like, you got to cancel that contract. You got to get someone else in here because I'm not licensed for it, of course, but I, after all the years we working together and the years of carpentry, like I know basically what to look for. And it turns out, they didn't need anything like that. And that's why it's so important to always know who you're hiring, and always, in this case, you just, whether it's us or someone else, you always ask your realtor and or someone you trust, because in every industry there are bad players out there.
Absolutely. There definitely is. There's always going to be those bad seeds in every industry, unfortunately, and it gives us a bad name when it happens. And you want to find a good, reputable company, and
that you can depend on. Absolutely. And so, what areas do you cover?
We do all of the Cape, from Provincetown all the way down to Falmouth, but we also go across the bridge to Plymouth and across the way to Wareham.
Yeah. So
just the
Barnstable County and a little bit of southern Plymouth County.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And it's spring, of course, and we know, like living here, we know some of the things to expect. But what are the biggest pest issues that come up this time of year?
This time of year, right now what we're dealing with is ticks is a big one. We're going to have a really bad tick season. We've been getting calls for ants already, carpenter ants and pavement ants, as well as odorous house ants. We actually just recently got a call for termites already swarming as well. So it's going to be a really buggy year this year.
Oh, no, yeah. And I think like for the ticks, it's because it was a lot of snow and they get insulated, right? So if it's no snow, they get cold, could get killed more.
Yeah, it's more of a year-round thing with the ticks now. It's going to be, but with all the snow that we had and all the melting and everything else, it's going to be.
Yeah, and so in my opinion, ticks is probably the most important one to deal with because the health consequences, if you end up with Lyme disease or If I get the new meat one, I'm gonna die. I forget what they call it. The Texas deer tick makes you allergic to meat. I'm like, take me now, Lord. But no, I've seen people lose much of their cognitive ability from Lyme disease. I've seen people whose hands curled up, like it's joint disorders, all sorts of terrible things, heart disorders from Lyme disease.
And that's why you want to try and be proactive and do things to try and keep the population down. It's never going to get rid of it 100%, but it's to make that, to suppress the population.
Yeah. So what are some of the things like the homeowner could do to help?
When it comes to when it comes to ticks, one of the big things that I actually do when I go in spray houses is I'll wear light colored socks, white socks, and pull them up over my pant leg and then tape over the top, but actually have the tape facing the other direction. So therefore, if anything's trying to crawl up, it gets stuck to the tape.
Oh.
So that's one tip for the ticks. When it comes to pests inside your home, like just different types of pests, a lot of them like moisture. If you use dehumidifiers in the basement, that's a good way to help prevent the problem from happening. If you have ants inside your kitchen, obviously try and make sure you pick up all the crumbs and seal food in containers and things like that. But if you want to use something over the counter, you can try and use bait cups. One of the ones that I would recommend using is the Taro bait cup.
Yeah.
It's probably the best over the counter product to use, in my opinion. But if you're still having ants, that's when you can call us. Another problem on the Cape is mice. What I suggest people do when they have mice is if they want to check if they have a problem, they can use monitoring tools like snap traps. We don't usually use snap traps in the field because it's only used to catch one mouse at a time. It's more for a monitoring type situation opposed to control. But when you do want to check to see if you have mice,
I'll do the simulated wall, right?
Oh, perfect. I appreciate it. A lot of people will put the trap this way and not realize that mice don't see very well, so they use their whiskers as feelers. So as they're running across the wall, you want to put the trap this way so they can get from either direction, opposed to this way you're only catching maybe one that's running from this direction, or they'll run over the trap.
Or they might feel it to go around it, right?
Yes, yeah. So you always want to put the trap up against the wall like that.
Nice wall work.
And I like using these type of snap traps because you can use the old wooden traps, but these ones are a little bit better because after you set it, if you catch something, you can re-release it afterwards into the trash and then reuse the trap again. So it's
cool. Yeah.
So that just
and I think like on the outside with the ticks too, it's one of the things is rake the lawn, get rid of the leaf litter and all of that, right?
Absolutely. You want to try and you can also use like rock barriers around the perimeter of the property so that they have a barrier that they have to cross over, because usually they're going to be in the grassy leaf litter area.
Yeah, and I like the idea about the tape and about the bright color clothing too, because I think my wife has found ticks a couple of times because she was working on her plants, and so she was in maybe getting the leaves out of there and around the little bushes and that. But if you had something bright colored, even a bright colored outer shirt on, you might spot them.
Oh, absolutely.
Beforehand. So that's always because you really got to check yourself when you come in from doing that kind of work, because they crawl, I guess, fast, and they know where they want to be. They get blood near the surface is what they're going after, right?
Yeah, the worst, believe it or not, the worst situation that happened to me was I was out doing what I do because I treat for the ticks and everything else, and I actually had one inside my belly button, and that was trying to pull that out. It was just it was just a nightmare. That's no one wants to get
no.
ticks, but yeah.
Thanks for telling us all that different stuff. Those are the things, some of the things we're so used to in this business is ticks and mice and ants, termites. Now with termites, they usually, you never want like wood right on the ground.
No.
You always want to have like at least 8 inches or better off 16 inches for splashback and that. And when the termites are coming up, they're usually coming up out of the ground, correct?
Yes, they're coming up usually through mud tubes. And when you have the wood soil contact, they can just get right up underneath, and you wouldn't even know that they're there because you're not seeing the mud tubes and everything else. But the termites use the mud tubes for 2 reasons. One is for the sunlight, to protect them from the sunlight. The other one is to protect them from their natural enemies. Carpenter ants actually are mortal enemies of termites. They'll actually eat the termites. But
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen termites and carpenter ants in the same piece of wood.
Yeah.
They just haven't found each other yet.
Yeah, because the termites go up. Once they're inside, you don't see them because generally termites are in the core of the wood, right? They don't like to come to the surface. They generally...
They can. They actually, the house I just was at recently, it was funny, they've had swarms for years, and didn't think anything of it, and finally called somebody and had me come out and take a look, and I was looking around, they had them all over there. They actually chewed up their hardwood floors. I went down to the basement, found live ones inside mud tubes, showed the customer the mud tubes and everything else, so they've had a colony for...
Oh, no kidding.
For a long time, so we're taking care of that. But when it comes to termites, there's two different types of treatments. There's either liquid treatment or termite bait stations. Liquid treatment, you're putting out a lot of termiticide around the property. It's not as much as it used to be, but it's still a good amount of termiticide. I like using the bait stations because the bait stations are more of a greener type of approach.
Mm-hmm.
You put them around the foundation of the property 10 to 20 feet apart. Check them periodically. You can check them once a year or twice a year, and if there's any activity, you replace the cartridges as needed. But it actually shows you when they're inside the stations, so you can actually see that it's working.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why I like those.
And I know, green, and also the other things. A lot of concerns are your parents or pet owners, with kids in it. So I know you do something that's more natural for the ticks too,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. I use an all organic product when it comes to the ticks.
Yeah.
You do have to be careful still with honeybees and things like that because you want to make sure that you're not spraying directly on flowering, blooming plants just because of the honeybees. You want to make sure that you're protecting the pollinators at the same time.
Giving your business a little plug. Are you doing any specials right now?
Actually, anybody that sees the podcast, we're actually giving a $50 off any service. Just let us know when you call the office. Tell Tiffany that you heard about us here. Use the promo code podcast.
Okay. Oh, look at us. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I can tell you, he's already going to be fair. I mean, we've had people that we've recommended you to price you, and after talking to you, the professionalism, the scheduling, you're right on top of it. Your return calls, it's just a type of business we like to do business with. So thanks again for coming on. And folks, can't recommend them highly enough. So if you got any pests, and you should just have someone come out and just do a quick inspection. Don't want to wait until you have a problem. You, like anything, you want to just have a program in place to prevent the problem. It'll save you thousands and lots of stress and aggravation.
Absolutely. No, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, Matt.
Nice seeing you too. Thank you.
All of Matt's contact info will be in the description box below, and we'll see you next week on Cape Cod Like a Local.